Hi teachers, this is a really quick tutorial video just to navigate through the Lesson 4 Chewing on Change curriculum to help you better with your students in class. You're going to navigate to the mybinder.org page, and in the GitHub URL space, you will copy and paste the supplied URL GitHub link, just as you see here. And then students will hit the launch button. This will take just a couple minutes for everything to launch. You'll see it's building the Jupyter notebook as we speak, and it will push it to a server. So students can do this directly from the web. Nothing is saved. Nothing is going on computers at school. So this is fully applicable directly from their platform. You'll get to a screen like you see here, and all of the information for Lesson 4 is already in place. If a little pop-up shows up in the bottom right corner, just X out of that. Students will want to double-click on the Lesson 4 underscore chewing on change. It's an IPYNB file, which means it's a Python script notebook in Jupyter, and it will show up as you see here. Students will then click through each one of these cells. These are cells that have code already in place. They don't need to understand the code per se, but I'm going to walk you through what the code is doing. And there is very small descriptions of that for students as well. So to go through the code cell by cell, you'll just have the students hit either this play button up at top, or you can use the Shift and Enter key. And so I've just kind of placed myself into this first pip install Torch Vision, and this takes quite some time to install, about 5 minutes. But once you click on that, you'll get a little asterisk that shows at the left here that that particular cell is running. It'll also show busy down here at the bottom. So you know the computer's doing something. And you're just waiting for that cell to process. There are a few spots within the code that will take a few minutes to run. Installing the packages like Torch Vision here is probably some of the more timely aspects. This will take about 5 minutes to install. It's literally putting all of the necessary portions of the package into this server so that you can run the code efficiently. The other pip installs are fast, but Torch Vision up here, the first one, will take some time, about 5 minutes. And while it's processing, I'm going to go through a few of the other cells without actually pressing the Shift and Enter key or the Run key at the top, so you can kind of see what's happening. In this first set, they're just installing the packages necessary to run the cells. And again, everything I'm saying is listed right here in this text just above. Once they get to section 1, they're going to be building the model. And so they will call the particular libraries and packages that they want to run this model. And they're going to set up the device on CPU so it can run on the computer, and set up a transform using that Torch Vision package that we're installing currently. Then they're going to load the image data sets, and those are over here already in these files, but we're telling the computer via code how we want these images to be stored. So they're in classes by horse species. There are 6 classes, as you see here, in that image folder based directory over here at left. Within there, we have Dinohippus interpolatus, Equus simplicitans, Mesohippus species, Nanippus aztecus. We have Parahippus leonesensis, and then also Surfippus sandri. And so here we are setting up training data sets and test data sets, validation data sets within those classes of horses. And that's what's going to run there. And then once they run that code, it will spit out this information. So they won't see this initially, but once that code cell runs, they'll see the total number of images in the training and validation data set equals 330 images. Of those 330, 264 will be used for the training data set. 66 of those images will be used for the validation data set. And then each of the classes of species of horse will have 5 images that are previously unseen with the training and validation sets that are used as the test data set. Once that information pops up, they're able to progress to this next cell, which is defining their convolutional neural network model, all of the layers within that model. And so they press play on this cell. They'll press play on initializing that model to get it ready to run. And then they're in the training the epics. And epics are basically iterations of training with all of the training data set and the validation data set data. In this case, the images from our 6 classes of horse. So they're going to run 5 iterations. And this cell is the second cell that takes a little bit of time, much like our first cell, which I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top. Let's see here. It looks like that cell is done running. And when you know it's done running, when you see a number appear in the brackets to the left, and it'll show idle at the bottom instead of busy. So while we continue talking through the next bit of cells, I'm just going to hit Shift Enter. This one is pretty quick. Oops. I'll let this run for just a bit, and then I'll hit the other few pip installs that we've got to do. See, that's already done. We're going to hit the next one. This one's extremely fast as well. And then we'll go down and look at the rest of the code. Let's see here. 3 of 4. There we go. That one's successfully loaded. We're going to hit this one next. This is our matplotlib. This is to run a couple plots and tables with the data. It's done. Now we're going to run the Seaborn. Again, this just helps us analyze that data. And then we're going to do one final pip install, which is just to make sure that all of the things we want requirement-wise are already satisfied, which we're in good shape. So everything's done running there. Before I press play with the others here, I just want to go down and speak once again about the training the model 5 epics. This one, like the first, will take several minutes. Once you hit run, the students will see something along this line where it shows epic 1 of 10, or 1 of 5 in this case. We're going to do half the time so that they're done running their 5 epics within about a 5-minute period. If you choose to do 10 epics, you can change this number of epics to 10, and this will take about 10 or so minutes to run, maybe even 18 minutes to run. Then they'll get down to section 2 where they validate the model. It will spit out a confusion matrix. They should be seeing the vast majority of those images falling along this diagonal here. These are showing that they were correctly identified by the model. If something sits outside of that, it's telling you that this particular image, which was a Dinohippus interpolatus in this case, was misclassified as an equus simplicitans. So you can see there's a couple images that were misclassified. So in the next bit of code in the following cell, we ask to see what was misclassified. The true identification of this one was a leonensis, and then here it says it is predicted as an E simplicitans. We will then test the model with the test data set. These are the unseen teeth images, and our model will provide a test loss and accuracy. This number will fluctuate slightly depending on which of the images are used for training, validation, and test. But you can see here with 10 epics, our model did pretty well at accurately identifying the teeth. At that point, we'll look at a confusion matrix for strictly the test data set. Very much like the validation data set, we want to see what was misclassified. So we look at those images, we can see what those teeth were. And then this just prints the model architecture to show us how our model was set up layer-wise. We have a convolutional layer, a ReLU layer, a max pool layer. Many of these things won't make any sense to the students, but this is how you build a model to tweak or kind of fine tune, almost as if you were fine tuning knobs on a dial on a device to get the model to give you the best accuracy. Finally, we'll run a bit of code that is used to create heat maps. And these heat maps tell us what the computer used vision-wise to classify the images. It is this final set of code right here under configuration setup that takes, again, a bit of time, again, about 5 minutes to run. Once this runs, the students will get files that are put over here and it'll say output. And that output file, it'll tell you again how many teeth were processed. All 330 will be processed. It will put them as a CSV file over here called output again. And we will then do a final cell of code to select an image of each of our 6 classes of horse. And we will see the original horse tooth image next to its heat map. So bright hot colors tell us what the computer found most important, and darker blue colors are least important on this map. And you can kind of see what the computer is using versus relative to what maybe a paleontologist would be using to classify teeth. That data will be the final cell that's run, at which point students will be taken down to section 4, where they can start to change certain pieces of code to see how that changes the model output. So there are several different things that they might try. You can select one, they can select all, depending on your time. This might also require or be used as an extension activity for your students. So that's really it on the code, but again, they're just clicking and playing. And then when they get to that final last bit and they've run all the code, they can come in and change parameters. So for instance, if they were changing the batch size, or they were changing the layers, number of epochs here, they would just click on and change that number. Time-wise, I would probably suggest not doing higher number of epochs, maybe 8, but it's going to take several minutes for that to run. And just depending on your class time, that may or may not be feasible. So I hope that helps. I just wanted to make a quick little video. The same information can be found in some of the script, the text that's up in each of the sections here, and also there are some screenshots in the PDF version of the lesson. So again, thank you very much and hope that helped. Take care.